John and Liz were enjoying a peaceful afternoon in their garden. The sun was warm, the birds sang sweetly. It was the perfect day for relaxing. Suddenly, John spotted something unusual. A snake was slithering through the flower beds. Liz joined him, and they watched the creature with a mixture of curiosity and caution. It was a small snake, about the size of John's forearm, and colored a muddy brown. John thought it looked like a harmless garter snake, common to their area, but something about it wasn't quite right. As they leaned in for a closer look, John noticed something peculiar. The snake seemed to have tiny bumps where its front legs should be. "Look, Liz," he whispered, pointing. "Does that look like arms to you?" Liz squinted. She wasn't so sure. It was hard to tell from this distance. Intrigued, John decided to take a closer look. He slowly approached the snake, careful not to startle it. As John drew near, the snake lifted its head and turned towards him. It flicked its tongue, tasting the air. Then, in a flash, it struck. The snake's teeth sank into John's hand. The pain was immediate and intense. John cried out, pulling his hand back. Blood welled up from the bite, more than either of them expected. John staggered back, clutching his hand. Liz rushed to his side, her heart pounding. "Are you all right?" she asked, her voice laced with panic. "I don't know," John gasped, his face pale. "It got me good." They rushed to the car, Liz driving as quickly as she could to the nearest hospital. In the emergency room, the doctors cleaned and bandaged John's wound. The bleeding wouldn't stop. It was an unusual reaction to a snake bite. They asked John about the type of snake, but he couldn't describe it clearly. The doctors looked at him skeptically. "A snake with arms?" one doctor scoffed. "That's impossible." Unsatisfied with the hospital's response, Liz insisted on taking John to see their vet, Dr. Susan. Dr. Susan, a woman known for her cool head and vast knowledge of animals, listened intently as they described the snake and the bizarre symptoms. She examined the bite closely. A dark ring was forming around the wound, a sign that alarmed her. "This is no ordinary snake bite," she said, her brow furrowed. "I need to administer an antidote, and quickly." Dr. Susan rummaged through her cabinet, pulling out a vial filled with a strange, milky liquid. "This is a long shot," she admitted, "but I think it's our best bet." She administered the antidote. The effects were almost immediate. The bleeding began to slow, and the color returned to John's face. He looked at Dr. Susan with gratitude. "Thank you," he whispered. "What was that?" Dr. Susan shook her head. "I'm not sure," she admitted. "But I have a feeling we need to get you to Dr. Andrew at the city hospital. He'll know what to do." The drive to the city hospital was tense. They had never even heard of Dr. Andrew, and they didn't understand why Dr. Susan was so insistent. When they arrived, they faced a frustrating hour-long wait before John was finally admitted. It turned out Dr. Andrew was a specialist called in specifically for John's case. He examined the bite, the antidote, and listened intently as they described their encounter with the snake. Dr. Andrew, though, seemed as baffled as they were. He couldn't identify the snake from their description, and the antidote Dr. Susan used was unfamiliar to him. John eventually recovered, but the mystery of the snake with tiny arms remained. The experience left them with a lingering sense of curiosity and caution. They continued to tend their garden, but always with a watchful eye, aware that the natural world held secrets they were only beginning to glimpse.